before humans ruled the earth, before cities, before writing, before history itself, something else may have existed here. What if humanity was not the first intelligent civilization on this planet? What if another advanced world rose and fell long before us? Ancient structures older than civilization. Technology found where it should not exist. Stories carved into stone, warning of a forgotten age. Tonight you are about to enter a history they never taught us. If you are drawn to hidden knowledge, forgotten civilizations, and the mysteries of our ancient past, like the video, subscribe, and enter the whispers of the world. Now, let us begin. Before history had a name, before calendars, kings, or written memory, the earth was already ancient. Mountains had risen and fallen. Oceans had advanced and retreated. Entire species had appeared and vanished. And yet, when we open our history books, we are told something very simple, that civilization began only a few thousand years ago. That before that, humans were primitive, scattered tribes, hunters and gatherers, barely surviving. But the planet beneath our feet tells a much older story, a story buried under layers of soil, ice and silence. If we listen carefully, the earth begins to whisper. Human history officially begins around 6,000 years ago with the rise of Sumer, Egypt and the Indus Valley. This is where timelines start. This is where knowledge supposedly begins. But the earth itself is over 4 billion years old. Between these two numbers lies a vast, unexplained darkness. A missing chapter. And missing chapters are rarely empty. Geologists call the deep past prehistory, as if the absence of written words means the absence of events. But time does not erase truth, it only hides it. Across the world there are signs that something existed long before humanity rose to dominance. Signs that do not fit comfortably into the accepted timeline. Massive stone structures, advanced astronomical alignments, precision engineering where only primitive tools should have existed. These are not isolated anomalies. They appear across continents, across cultures, across time. And they raise an unsettling question. What if humanity inherited a world that had already been shaped by intelligence? Long before modern humans emerged, the planet went through dramatic changes. Ice ages, meteor impacts, sudden climate shifts. Yet even during these chaotic eras, the Earth was not empty. Life thrived, evolved, adapted. So why is it considered impossible that intelligence may have risen before us? We assume that intelligence is rare, that civilization is fragile, that it happened once and only once. But nature does not favour singular events, it favours patterns. And patterns repeat. Consider this. If an advanced civilization existed hundreds of thousands of years ago, or even millions, would we expect clear evidence today? Cities would erode, metal would corrode, concrete would crumble back into dust. After enough time, even skyscrapers would become indistinguishable from natural rock. Time is not kind to memory. What survives is stone. What survives is alignment. What survives is myth. And stone is exactly where the first whispers appear. In southeastern Turkey lies a site that should not exist. Göbekli Tepe. Dated to over 12,000 years ago, it predates agriculture, pottery and known civilization. According to mainstream history, the people of this era were nomads, simple hunter-gatherers. Yet, Göbekli Tepe is anything but simple. Massive T-shaped stone pillars rise from the ground, some weighing over 20 tons. They are arranged in precise circular patterns. They are decorated with intricate carvings of animals, symbols, and abstract forms. This was not random art. It required planning, coordination, mathematical understanding, and most importantly, it required time. Who organised this labour? Who designed these structures? And why would nomadic tribes invest such effort into something with no apparent survival benefit? Even more mysterious is what happened next. Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried, not destroyed, not abandoned. Buried, covered carefully with tons of earth as if someone wanted to preserve it or hide it. Why would a civilization bury its own monument? What knowledge was sealed beneath the soil? Göbekli Tepe is not alone. Across the globe, ancient sites appear suddenly in the archaeological record, fully formed with no clear developmental phase, as if knowledge arrived all at once. In Egypt, the Great Pyramid stands as a silent anomaly. Its alignment to true north is more accurate than many modern buildings. Its construction involves mathematical constants that should not have been known at the time. The stones weigh tens of tons, some transported from hundreds of kilometers away. And yet, we are told it was built using copper tools and wooden sleds. The explanation feels incomplete. At sites like Baalbek in Lebanon, stone blocks weigh over 1,000 tons, some of the largest ever moved by humans. Even today, we struggle to explain how they were lifted, let alone positioned with such precision. Mainstream archaeology often responds with a familiar phrase: "We don't yet know." But not knowing does not mean impossible. It means unanswered. And unanswered questions have a way of leading to uncomfortable truths. The deeper researchers look, the more cracks appear in the official timeline. Ancient soil layers reveal evidence of habitation far older than expected. Tools found in strata that should predate humans, signs of organised activity where chaos was assumed. Then there are the maps, ancient maps that show coastlines as they existed during the last ice age. Maps that depict Antarctica without ice, something modern science only confirmed in the 20th century. How could ancient people know this? Unless they inherited knowledge from a time when the ice was gone, a time before us. This idea is not new. Ancient cultures themselves believed they were not the first. The Sumerians wrote of kings who ruled before the flood. Egyptian records spoke of a time when gods ruled the earth. Hindu texts describe cycles of creation and destruction, spanning immense ages. These cultures did not see history as a straight line. They saw it as a wheel. Civilizations rise, they flourish, they fall, and then time begins again. What if humanity is living in the aftermath of such a cycle? What if the reason our history feels incomplete is because it truly is? Imagine a civilization not based on steel and electricity, but on stone, sound, and resonance. A civilization that worked with nature rather than against it. One whose cities blended into the landscape, leaving little trace. When disaster struck, flood, fire, or impact, their world would vanish almost completely. Survivors would scatter, knowledge would fragment, stories would become myths. And thousands of years later, a new species, us, would rise among the ruins, unaware of what came before. We would assume we were the first, but assumptions are not evidence, and the earth keeps offering reminders. Why do ancient monuments align with stars no longer visible in the same positions? Why do myths across continents describe the same catastrophes? Why does civilization appear suddenly, as if rebooted? Perhaps humanity did not invent civilization. Perhaps we rediscovered it. Perhaps we are not standing at the beginning of history. but somewhere in the middle. The forgotten age before humanity may not be forgotten at all. It may simply be waiting, patiently, for us to notice. And as we peel back the layers of time, one truth becomes harder to ignore. The world we inherited carries scars. Scars of something lost, scars of a civilization that once ruled, before humans ever knew their name. Throughout the earth, traces of human ingenuity leave us in awe. But scattered among these traces are things that do not belong to the timeline we know. Technology that should not exist. Structures that defy explanation. Knowledge that seems impossible for a species we are told was just beginning to survive. Take a journey to Pumapunku in the highlands of Bolivia. Here, colossal stone blocks are arranged in a layout that challenges every assumption about ancient engineering. Blocks weighing hundreds of tons, cut with precision so fine that even modern tools would struggle to achieve it. Edges aligned at perfect right angles, surfaces polished flat with grooves and channels that seem designed for purposes we cannot fully comprehend. Yet the builders lived in an era considered prehistoric. No metal tools strong enough, no wheels capable of moving these stones, no cranes. And still the structures stand. Mainstream archaeology offers theories, simple human labour, ropes and levers, sheer ingenuity. But the deeper we investigate, the more these explanations feel like placeholders for something unknown. Then there are artefacts that baffle even the most imaginative minds. Spherical metal objects encased in stone, found in ancient layers, artifacts resembling batteries capable of generating electricity discovered in Mesopotamia. Tools and devices whose purpose is unclear, yet clearly crafted with intention. Even the precision of certain ancient monuments hints at knowledge lost to time. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is aligned with such accuracy to true north that modern engineers marvel. It incorporates mathematical constants, geometric principles, and astronomical knowledge that should have been centuries beyond the era it was built. It raises a question impossible to ignore. Who taught them? Who planned these feats? And why does it feel like the knowledge was almost deliberately erased? Across the globe, similar patterns emerge. In Lebanon, the megaliths of Baalbek weigh over 1,000 tons. The largest stones, known as the trilithon, remain among the heaviest blocks ever moved by human hands. Yet they were cut, transported, and positioned with a precision that even today challenges construction engineers. In Egypt, temples such as Abu Simbel are carved into mountains, aligned with the sun so that sunlight illuminates the inner sanctum twice a year. In Peru, the Nazca lines stretch for miles, their scale only fully visible from the air. Yet humans did not have flight. And in Asia, structures like Mount Meru's ancient terraces or the stone circles of Korea display precision and geometry beyond what should have been possible. What connects these seemingly disconnected sites is not just their age, it is the knowledge they imply. A civilization capable of understanding geometry, astronomy, and engineering in ways that surpass what humans were officially capable of at the time. Some researchers suggest lost technologies. Some hint at extraterrestrial influence. Others consider cyclic advanced civilizations rising and falling, leaving fragments behind. Whatever the truth, one thing becomes clear. We are standing on the shoulders of something we barely understand. Consider the engineering required. Stone blocks cut so precisely that even a modern laser would struggle to achieve the same results. Structures designed to last millennia. Precision so high that gaps are measured in millimeters, even after thousands of years of erosion. It is a knowledge that seems almost magical. And the question grows even more urgent when we examine anomalies. In Iran, the ancient city of Shah-e-Sukhteh reveals artifacts with intricate electronics-like components, thousands of years old. In Bosnia, the pyramids of Visoko hint at precision and alignment beyond local civilizations. In Turkey, Göbekli Tepe contains pillars carved with symbols depicting animals and astronomical events long before humans were thought to track the stars. The evidence is subtle, fragmented, but persistent. It whispers across continents and millennia. And if we follow these whispers, we begin to see a pattern emerging, a civilization that understood energy in ways we are only beginning to explore today. A civilization that harnessed materials, shapes, and resonance to manipulate the environment. A civilization that existed long before our recorded history began. It is a civilization whose fingerprints remain hidden in stone and myth. And yet, as we investigate, we notice something equally mysterious. Many of these sites were deliberately buried, dismantled, or hidden. Göbekli Tepe was buried under tons of earth. Some pyramids were sealed with chambers that were never reopened. Artifacts are scattered in layers of soil, deep underground, waiting for centuries to be discovered. Why hide knowledge that could have been powerful? Why erase evidence of capabilities far beyond what we assume was possible? Some suggest catastrophe. Others suggest secrecy. Perhaps both. But the message is clear. There was knowledge, advanced knowledge. Knowledge that could have reshaped human understanding. And it was almost lost. As we piece together these fragments, we begin to glimpse the scope of what existed. Structures aligned with stars, tools impossible for their time, materials manipulated with precision, energy harnessed in ways that challenge imagination. And everywhere we look, one truth emerges. Humanity didn't start at zero. We inherited a world already shaped by intelligence, a world that once knew the secrets of energy, matter, and the cosmos. A world that may have been far more advanced than our history acknowledges. And yet, like all things, it was lost. The question now becomes, how did it vanish? And why do we remember so little? Perhaps it was a lesson. Perhaps it was a warning. Perhaps it is a mystery that continues to haunt us. Because if the ruins and artifacts scattered across the earth, in structures both ancient and impossible, the fingerprints of this lost technology remain, waiting, silent, challenging us to see beyond our accepted timeline. And as we continue our journey through history, one thing becomes certain. The story of human civilization may not be a story of invention. It may be a story of rediscovery, of awakening to knowledge that came before us. And perhaps knowledge that could guide or warn us for the future. If we wish to understand civilizations that may have existed before humanity, we cannot rely on stones alone. We must listen to the whispers of words, ancient texts, myths and legends passed down through generations, carrying fragments of memories from a forgotten past. Across the world, separated by oceans, languages and cultures, these stories share a startling similarity. They speak of beings, knowledge, and civilizations that existed long before humans walked the earth. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians recorded the reign of the antediluvian kings. These were rulers said to have lived tens of thousands of years, presiding over advanced cities long before the flood reshaped the world. The kings' lifespans were impossibly long, their wisdom unmatched, and their civilization appears suddenly in the historical record, fully formed, as if emerging from nowhere. The Sumerians spoke of beings called the Anunnaki, who descended from the heavens to teach humanity. Some scholars suggest these beings were mythological representations of advanced humans who had come before us. Others speculate they were extraterrestrial visitors. Either way, the record is clear. Human civilization, as we know it, may have been built on the foundation of knowledge from an earlier, advanced world. Across the Mediterranean, Plato recounts the tale of Atlantis, a civilization so technologically advanced and powerful it rivaled even the gods. A kingdom of marble palaces, vast canals and machines of unknown purpose, and yet, in a single day and night, it vanished beneath the waves. Atlantis may be myth, some claim, but why do so many ancient cultures tell similar stories of a great civilization that fell from the face of the earth? In Egypt, the texts and oral traditions describe a time of gods walking among men. These gods were builders, teachers, rulers, and in some interpretations they represent humans of an age long before recorded history. Monuments, pyramids, and temples attributed to these figures carry knowledge far beyond what humans were supposedly capable of at the time. Travel further east and the Vedas of India speak of cycles of creation and destruction known as yugas. According to these texts, human civilization is not linear. It rises and falls in long epochs, each lasting tens or hundreds of thousands of years. Advanced beings, often described as semi-divine, existed in previous ages. They wielded knowledge of astronomy, energy, and weaponry far beyond our comprehension. Even in the Hebrew Bible, the Book of Enoch describes angels teaching forbidden knowledge to humanity. Knowledge that was dangerous, powerful, and eventually suppressed. It speaks of a time before the flood, when beings walked the earth who were neither fully human nor fully divine. And it hints at a civilization with secrets that mankind was not meant to inherit. These texts, across continents and millennia, share something remarkable. They suggest that the history we know, the rise of Sumer, Egypt, and other early civilizations, is not the beginning. It is the rebirth, a second act, the survivors or inheritors of knowledge from an age long lost. Could this mean that myths are memories of reality distorted over time? Could gods, giants, and ancient kings be representations of a civilization that once mastered the earth? The patterns are undeniable. Floods are nearly universal in mythologies, from Mesopotamia to India, from Greece to Central America. Catastrophes wipe out civilizations repeatedly, and new humans inherit fragments of knowledge, struggling to rebuild what was lost. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known texts, tells of a great flood sent to destroy mankind. It speaks of a man who survives and receives wisdom from the gods, knowledge meant to preserve civilization. Stories like these may be echoes of events from a civilization older than humanity, passed down in allegory. In Greece, Hesiod recounts the ages of men: gold, silver, bronze, heroic, and iron. The Golden Age, he says, was a time of peace, abundance, and wisdom. Men lived in harmony, untouched by suffering. Could this Golden Age be a memory of the civilization that came before humans? Even the Americas have their stories. The Maya spoke of previous worlds destroyed by cataclysms and of gods teaching humans how to build, grow, and survive. The Inca believed in Viracocha, a deity who created the world and gave knowledge to humans after a great disaster. Across cultures, a consistent theme emerges. Humanity may not have been the first to inherit the earth. Civilizations may rise, achieve mastery over nature, and vanish. We are only the latest in a long line of inheritors, and texts are not the only evidence. Artifacts and monuments often reflect what the stories describe. Structures aligned with celestial bodies, mathematics inscribed in stone, tools and symbols that point to knowledge supposedly lost to time. The convergence of myth and physical evidence is striking. Where once we assumed imagination, we now see memory. Where once we assumed legend, we now see fragments of truth. Could these ancient texts be warnings? The Book of Enoch describes angels who gave knowledge to humans and were punished for it. Atlantis is destroyed in a single night for hubris. The Vedas warn of cycles of degeneration where knowledge is forgotten and civilizations collapse. Perhaps the lost civilization left behind clues not only of their existence, but also of their mistakes. As we read these texts carefully, a pattern begins to emerge. Civilization rises, knowledge flourishes, catastrophe strikes. Only fragments survive. Humanity begins again. And now, standing thousands of years later, we may be on the same path. Could the myths of gods, angels, and giants be more than stories? Could they be encoded memory, passed down in allegory to guide or warn us? If we listen closely, the message is almost audible. There was a civilization before us. It was advanced. It understood the earth and the cosmos, and it fell, leaving only whispers in stone, text, and myth. These whispers call to us across time, asking, will we learn from the past or repeat it? The evidence is fragmented, the text cryptic, but the story is consistent. Humanity is not the first intelligent civilization to walk the earth, and the lessons of those who came before remain buried, waiting for those who dare to listen. Every civilization, no matter how advanced, carries within it the seeds of its own vulnerability. And if a civilization existed before humanity, it too must have faced a moment of reckoning, a catastrophe so great that it erased their presence almost entirely from the earth. Across ancient texts, myths, and geological evidence, a story emerges. A sudden, cataclysmic event, one so immense that it reshaped landscapes, changed climates, and forced survivors to start over. Consider the timeline. Around 12,000 years ago, at the close of the last ice age, the Earth experienced dramatic upheaval. Massive glaciers melted, flooding coastlines. Meteoric impacts, evidenced by tiny microtectites scattered globally, altered the climate in months, not centuries. Sudden shifts in temperature triggered massive extinctions of flora and fauna. And if humans were not yet dominant, other forms of life, and perhaps other civilizations, bore the brunt of this upheaval. Some archaeologists and researchers point to the Younger Dryas, a period of abrupt climate change. During this time, average global temperatures dropped rapidly. The seas surged, reshaping coastlines. Habitats disappeared overnight. Food sources vanished. And entire civilizations, if they existed, would have been destroyed in the chaos. We see traces of this catastrophe in myths as well. The Sumerians described the flood that wiped out the antediluvian kings. Plato's Atlantis sank beneath the waves in a single night. The Hindu texts speak of yugas ending in destruction, followed by periods of renewal. The Book of Enoch recounts angels watching over humanity as disasters unfolded, a warning that knowledge comes with responsibility. What ties all these stories together is a theme of sudden collapse. A once thriving civilization advanced beyond imagination, undone by forces beyond control. The remnants of their existence were scattered, monuments buried, technology lost, knowledge fragmented into myths. Consider the physical evidence. In North America, along the Gulf Coast, scientists have discovered layers of sediment consistent with a massive tsunami or flooding event around 12,000 years ago. In the Middle East, evidence of rapid flooding appears in soil layers where advanced settlements once existed. Across the globe, mysterious layers of charred soil hint at widespread fires, perhaps ignited by meteor impacts, volcanic eruptions, or rapid climate shifts. Even the construction of ancient monuments may point to an awareness of impending catastrophe. Why build massive underground chambers? Why align structures with celestial events that occur over millennia? Perhaps these civilizations foresaw shifts in the earth and attempted to preserve their knowledge, their culture, and themselves. Yet, despite their preparation, much was lost. Cities disappeared beneath layers of earth. Artifacts were buried or smashed. Scrolls, tablets, and inscriptions faded with time. And as humans emerged, they inherited fragments. A stone here, a myth there, a legend of gods, giants, and lost kingdoms. This pattern repeats across continents. In South America, the ancient cities of the Andes show signs of sudden abandonment, coinciding with environmental upheaval. In the Middle East, layers of destruction suggest fires and floods overtaking settlements. In Asia, terraces and structures built with incredible precision were left to decay, as if their builders vanished overnight. Could these events explain the sudden rise of humanity as we know it? If an advanced civilization existed before us and was wiped out by catastrophe, the survivors, if any, would have reverted to primitive tools and knowledge. Over time, their technology and understanding would be lost. Only fragments would remain, inspiring myths, legends, and scattered artifacts. Some researchers call this civilizational reset, a period in which the Earth's memory is wiped clean and a new civilization begins, often unaware of what came before. This could explain the mysteries we encounter today. Stone structures built with impossible precision. Ancient maps depicting coastlines before ice ages ended. Texts describing events that geology only recently confirmed. The catastrophe was not merely natural. Some texts suggest human or other intelligent involvement, weapons of unimaginable power, conflict between civilizations, knowledge misused, and the consequences catastrophic. Could a civilization destroy itself before humans even existed? The idea is unsettling, yet patterns across time hint that intelligence without wisdom can be fatal. The past, hidden in myths and soil, warns us of what can happen when knowledge and hubris collide. And yet, life endured. Despite floods, fires, and impacts, life continued. Perhaps some survivors adapted. Perhaps they passed down fragments of knowledge. Perhaps humanity, emerging thousands of years later, inherited a world already shaped by intelligence and catastrophe. The question that haunts researchers is simple. If they existed, Why are the traces so scarce? Why are these civilizations so difficult to detect? Because catastrophe does not leave complete records. It destroys infrastructure, erodes monuments, erases texts, and scatters survivors. What remains is subtle. Anomalies in stone, strange artifacts buried in layers of earth, legends told over millennia. And when we piece them together, a chilling picture emerges. Civilization before humanity was not impossible. It was advanced, it was capable, and it fell, suddenly, catastrophically, leaving the Earth a blank slate for the next intelligent species. If myths and geological evidence are to be believed, the lesson is clear. No civilization is permanent. No knowledge is guaranteed to survive. The Earth remembers, even if humans forget. And so, as we uncover remnants of the past, we must consider the warning embedded within them. Your knowledge without foresight is fragile. Power without wisdom is fleeting. Even the most advanced civilization can be erased, leaving only whispers across millennia. The catastrophes of the past may have set the stage for humanity. They may have shaped the continents, the climate, and the very environment we inhabit today. But they also left a cautionary tale, hidden in stone, text, and myth for those who come after. And as we move forward in our journey, one truth becomes unavoidable. Civilization before humans may not be fiction. It may be history. History lost to catastrophe, waiting to be remembered. We have journeyed through time, exploring whispers of civilizations that may have existed before humanity. We have seen stone monuments carved with impossible precision. We have read texts and myths that speak of kings, gods, and floods. We have traced the scars left behind by cataclysms that erased entire worlds. And now, standing in the present, we must ask a question that echoes across millennia. Are we repeating their final mistake? History is not linear. It is cyclical. Rise and fall, advance and collapse, create, destroy, and begin again. The civilizations before us, if they existed, reached heights we can barely imagine. They mastered technology. They understood the stars. They shaped the earth. And yet, all of it was lost. Catastrophe struck. Nature reclaimed its power. Humanity, if it existed at all, was left to start over. We now face a world of unprecedented knowledge. Science, technology, and information surround us. We possess tools that could build or destroy on a scale unimaginable even to the ancients. And the warning is clear. Knowledge without wisdom can be fatal. Power without foresight invites disaster. Consider the patterns of the past. Advanced civilizations capable of extraordinary feats suddenly erased by forces beyond their control. Catastrophes, both natural and perhaps self-inflicted, leaving fragments behind. Survivors inheriting a broken world, forced to rebuild. Humanity is walking the same path. We face environmental collapse. Rising seas and storms reshape coastlines. Species vanish before our eyes. Technology grows faster than our understanding of it. And yet, most remain unaware. Just as the ancient civilizations failed to foresee the consequences of their actions, we risk repeating their mistakes. The Earth, patient and enduring, remembers. And history, silent, impartial, may repeat itself if lessons go unheeded. Some may dismiss this as speculation, but the evidence from the past whispers a warning. Civilizations can rise rapidly. They can master the world. They can innovate and dominate. And in a single moment, they can fall. We live in an era of immense opportunity. The tools to explore the cosmos, manipulate matter, and transform our environment are in our hands. But these tools are double-edged. Knowledge itself is not safe. It can be misused, forgotten, or ignored, with consequences that echo across generations. The stories of the lost civilizations suggest that intelligence alone is not enough. Survival requires balance, harmony with the earth, awareness of forces beyond immediate comprehension. The myths of Atlantis, the texts of Sumer, the warnings in the Vedas, they converge on a single message. The rise of a civilization is fleeting. Its endurance depends on foresight, respect, and humility. And perhaps this is the ultimate gift left by the civilizations before us. Not their technology, not their monuments, not their myths, but the lesson embedded in catastrophe. Progress without wisdom is fragile. As we reflect on these ancient whispers, we must confront ourselves. Are we prepared to heed the warnings buried in stone and story? Or will we too leave behind a world of ruins for the next intelligent species to discover? Perhaps the answer lies not in fear, but in awareness. Understanding the cycles of history, the fragility of life, and the power we wield can guide us toward a different path. We have inherited more than just a planet. We have inherited responsibility, and it is a responsibility we cannot ignore. For every stone structure that defies explanation, for every myth that speaks of floods and destruction, for every text that hints at knowledge lost, there is a voice whispering across time. Learn, observe, respect. Do not repeat what others have forgotten. The civilizations before humanity are silent teachers. Their lessons are etched in the earth, waiting for those who listen carefully. And if we choose to heed them, perhaps humanity will not be another chapter of collapse. Perhaps we can break the cycle. Perhaps the mistakes of the past can guide the wisdom of the future. History is not merely a record of what has been. It is a mirror, a reflection of what can be if we dare to see clearly. And as we end this journey through the whispers of the world, one truth remains. The civilizations that came before us may have vanished. Their knowledge may have been buried, their monuments erased, but the lessons they left behind endure. And now, it is up to us to learn, to understand, to rise without falling, to listen to the whispers of the world, soft, fading echo of ancient chants and wind. The earth remembers. Will we?